first stated that the current ban on polygamy violates the rights of those who wish to live this lifestyle, forces some to hide marriages, families, and this lifestyle that they live. I'd like to put this population into a bit of perspective. According to researchers at Birmingham University, there's an estimated of 30,000 to 50,000 polygamists in the U.S. Now, when you compare that to the Department of Commerce's census of 38.7 million people, that's equivalent to 0.02% of the U.S. population. Granted, the U.S. is supposed to take care of its minorities. However, it is designed and based on the U.S. Constitution preamble to promote the general welfare. So, even though it's currently banned, people are still practicing it. And they're not fearing to practice it either. Though, from an article in the New York Times by Timothy Egan, though polygamy is a felony, nobody has to hide from the law. More than a century after it was outlawed, polygamy is flourishing in Utah in small pockets of the American West. Furthermore, this doesn't seem to be a large issue within the polygamist community. They aren't seeking legal recognition of their marriages. They tend to keep them as a spiritual pact or union, as they tend to call it. One lawyer, Jonathan Tooley, who is working with the Brown family, which is the family from TLC's Sister Wives, who's currently being prosecuted for polygamy, released a statement saying, "We are not demanding recognition for polygamous marriage. We are only challenging the right of the state to prosecute people for their private relations and demanding equal treatment with other citizens in living their lives according to their own beliefs." They aren't trying to get legal multiple marriages. They're saying, we want to have our unions in our house and live the way we want, have everything be fine. This was further enforced by a statement from his client, Cody Brown, who said on behalf of the entire family that we only wish to live our private lives according to our beliefs. My opponent later went on to address the fact that the right to practice your religion is within the First Amendment, and that is perfectly true. The problem with this argument is that, according to John R. Llewellyn, an expert on polygamy who has written numerous novels, including the Polygamy's Rape of Rachel Strong, Protected Environment for Predators, the Attorney General has explained to polygamists that in a St. George Town's meeting that he would not prosecute on religious tenet. And that fully goes along with the First Amendment, which protects religious freedom and states that directly, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the freedom of thereof, exercise of thereof. My opponent also commented on some polygamous groups who are looking to decriminalize polygamy, and there's evidence to show that this is actually harming certain groups of polygamists, especially those in sex who do not have an opportunity to get out. From the same expert, John R. Larwell, he stated that the Attorney General states that Utah now declines to prosecute a crime of bigamy between consenting adults. Where this becomes an issue again, though, is that when you are in these sex, when this is something that is heavily used by your religion, the leaders will manipulate individuals in there to get what they want. This, once again, John R. Larwell stated that highly educated, well-dressed, and articulate pro-polygamy women living as independents, so as in a polygamous family outside of a religious sect or movement, when they come forward explaining how civilized polygamy really is, they do this after years of public perception of group-controlled polygamous women being downtrodden, poorly dressed, and unquestioning of their husbands, of course people will pay attention and also provide Utahnians with someone to point to and say, see, this is the real polygamy, not those others. This is actually okay. We don't need to worry about this. The problem is that when you look at New York Times article by Timothy Egan, they, the women who have left the big polygamous families, raise allegations of sexual abuse, pedophilia, and incest, and go on to say this is organized crime operating under the cover of religion. When they are in these relationships, the offenders can get away with various crimes under the pretense that this is my consenting wife, she has consented because this is our religion, everything is honky-dory. So decriminalizing polygamy does not help those who would be harmed. It actually ties the hand of the court, who cannot persecute due to religious tenet, and it allows some questionable religious groups to abuse consenting. The women who were quoted in these articles were also open polygamists from Utah and Arizona. Later, my opponent talked about the numbers of the men versus women and said that because there are more women in these communities, that they are the dominant sex. This is true. The problem is that when you have so many more women and you only have a few men in control of them, that means that they're isolated and that the individual men are in constant competition for women. So when this happens, there becomes a much higher percent of violence. And this can be historically seen in 19th century China, where as many as 25% of men were unable to marry. And an article on why American Muslims don't care to legalize polygamy said that these young men became natural recruits for bandit gangs and local militia, which nearly toppled the government. In what is now Taiwan, unattached males formed regular revolts and became entrepreneurs of violence. And they also reported similar problems in Portugal and India. My time is up. Thank you.